Hey everybody, welcome to the CTTechJunkie.com podcast. We are joined today by David and Peter from Digital Surgeons, and they are a New Haven creative marketing firm that is doing quite a lot in the app space also. So we have quite a bit to talk about and to profile this company. So let me start with David, the CEO. Tell us a little bit about Digital Surgeons and what it is you all do there.
So Digital Surgeons is a 25-person digital agency located in New Haven, Connecticut. We provide a variety of services, strategic, creative, and technology services to our clients. Our clients range from Fortune 50s to startups, typically venture capital funded startups. And we provide everything from strategic marketing services and planning all the way through to web design, interactive design, app design, campaign development and promotions, search marketing, and pretty much all things digital, content creation, content development and strategy, branding initiatives, brand development. And as of the last year or so, we've started to work in the venture acceleration space where we are either starting up our own ventures or funding or and supporting other ventures that we take a liking to.
And one of the things that people often assume about Connecticut is that we're not maybe the hotbed of innovation, or that there's, that California and New York are probably the sexier places to start up a technology-focused firm. Are you finding that Connecticut is a good incubator for this kind of activity?
Yeah, I think that obviously there's something sexy to the larger states, to the East and West Coast, and New York and Los Angeles and San Francisco. But I think that we live in a technology world, so you should be location or geography agnostic when you're able to do these things. And I think that there are definitely people that prefer New England, that prefer less of the hustle and bustle. But we've also chosen a location in New Haven that is kind of that perfect medium where you have that New England charm and that urban grit. So we're with all the culture and innovation that happens in New Haven and all the universities and whatnot, we feel like for being in Connecticut, we're in a very good location in Connecticut.
And I also see that you have, and we'll go into a few of the things that you're working on. And what I find interesting about the firm is that a lot of firms focus on advertising, or they focus on creative development. You all have taken kind of a different track, and you're doing some of your own in-house development, building some of your own brands in addition to helping your clients' brands. And I wanted to, let's bring Peter, Sena into the discussion here about the app that you've produced called Shoot Local. So Peter, can you tell us a little bit about what Shoot Local does?
Absolutely. So Shoot Local is an app that brings together creative professionals of any kind, be it photographers, videographers, or even kind of just the weekend warrior just trying to take some good content. I think what Shoot Local does is it brings together folks in an environment that allows for content creation to be social. So the idea of Shoot Local actually came when we did quite a bit of kind of photo shoots and video shoots for spots that we were shooting for our clients, and we were spending a ton of money on location scouting. And being the kind of company we are, always trying to leverage technology as an enabler, we said to ourselves, shouldn't this be social? Why should we be paying thousands of dollars for one location scout that may or may not be specific to one area, and be traveling outside of the state to go shoot some of these things on these unique shooting locations? Well, when there's all these amazing places around us. So David and I started kind of talking a little bit about that with the team, and we came up with the idea to create Shoot Local, which is really a place to bring all those things together. Obviously, geolocation apps are kind of on the rise these days, but most importantly, the mobile device is something that's in everyone's pocket at any point in time. So if you think about it, there's so many times where there's something captivating that you see, it's a location that you're a part of, it's creative, and you don't necessarily have your Canon camera on you or your whole rig to be able to shoot that, but you'd like to be mindful of that location and kind of put a stake in the ground. So again, it enables things to be brought together. Dave, would you say that I articulated that best? I mean, I'm
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think I'm good at 30-second spots for sure.
I think ultimately we recognized early on with some of the playful things we were doing. We were making games and we were making interactive websites and testing the boundaries of what technology could do, whether it was hacking the Microsoft Connect or using Facebook's API very early on. And we always knew that we had the skill sets from a strategic and a marketing standpoint, as well as a technology standpoint, to build products. So it only made sense that when we had the opportunity, we did so. And with Shoot Local, we saw a strong need for innovation and disruption, and we figured why not throw the bolt in the middle and see if we can make some waves and creating this community-driven location scouting app, and that's really just the beginning. It's just based around locations now, but eventually it's going to be based around entire productions. But ultimately, it sounded like a great place for us to start, and we threw our hat in the ring.
And do you have any success stories? Has any really well-known productions made use of the app to try to find that needle in the haystack location?
So right now, nothing has been done. So we've only been launched for a couple months. Excuse me. We've got a few thousand users in about 30 different countries to date. We've got amazing reviews. We picked up our first 2 film commissions who have actually used the app, because it's not just for production, but it's also a tool for governments to enhance how many locations they have on average, because the film commissions or the digital media commissions are typically shorthanded. They can only grow their databases by about 10% a year, where here they're empowering their entire communities to grow their databases exponentially. So San Antonio, a guy by the name of Drew, who runs the San Antonio Film Commission, was the first on, and he's uploaded hundreds of locations in San Antonio, beautiful locations. We've got the Alamo as a shoot location. And then Connecticut just put us on their website as a resource, and hopefully they'll be adding us in eventually as we add more tools and innovate the product a little bit. But for the most part, we see a lot of people using it for wedding photography. We've seen a mother that uses photography as an outlet, so she takes pictures of her children. She's been using it and and trying to build a business around taking pictures of children, so portrait photography, but not yet a huge win. But I think that'll come over time as the database grows and we have more locations in the system and it becomes a little bit more dense. It's a great tool. People think the functionality is great and the idea is great, but ultimately it needs more users, as any social network does. So as it scales, I think that this is going to become more and more popular.
And I think there's a real advantage here too, in that as your database grows, I had to do some production scouting at a point in my life, and it was not easy, and it was also really difficult because I had to get everything pretty close together, and they were really divergent places. One had to look like a government building, and the other one, a real, statesally like government building with pillars and everything. And then we needed a football field, and we were fortunate to find it the hard way, driving all over the place. But I could see there's some real value there. Peter, can you walk us through how this app works? How would I go about? Let's say I wanted to put my backyard up. What's the process that I have to follow?
Very, very simple. So you download the app on your iPhone. Right now we've got an iOS app that's out there. We plan on rolling out to Android once we've updated some of the feature sets on iOS. Certainly we focus on the iPhone at the moment, given the use case. So you download the app very simply. Once you've signed up for the app, you'll be walked through kind of a couple of screens to tell you how to use it, but it's very, very intuitive. Obviously, playing off of some of the UI controls of Apple and the guidelines. So you basically take the phone out, you snap a photo, or you pop in the information of the location. The GPS on the phone automatically is going to populate all of the address information for you based on your point in terms of where you are. And then you can start to apply tags to it. So, backyard, pool scene, anything. You can add a description. And once you've done that, you've added a description and the tags, you save the location. You can, of course, add multiple photos. And then you have the ability to, of course, share that location. So you can share it on your social networks, or you save it into your stream so you can go through and kind of review it later.
That sounds like a pretty easy way to get things up online. And David, just a final question for you: Do you see this as a as an app to earn revenue from, or is this more of a way to introduce people to what your firm can do?
Well, both. I think that from a revenue perspective, we've been able to map out about 5 different monetization models. Some of them will be rolled out as we roll out new versions of the application over the course of the next year. We've got some sponsorships already. Lens Baby just rolled out a contest with us for students to add locations. When we get into the private location model, where you'll be, obviously you can't put someone's office or building inside of the app without their permission, and if it is put into there without their permission, the owners will be able to own those locations and ultimately do some type of an in-app purchase to be able to get a contact from a photographer that wants to use it. We plan on adding new filters, adding new, it's not going to just be about location. So the name Shoot Local is actually about, essentially what it means is shooting local. So for example, if you are looking for a waterfall in Connecticut and you typed in waterfall inside the app and you were looking for something local, you would find the waterfall. So the goal is getting people to shoot inside of their location, inside of their local areas, and eventually being able to pull together an entire production, whether that be lighting, other photographers, models, actors, actresses, stylists, hairstylists, whatever. All those filters will be added in, and there may be some monetization to that type of a structure.
Right. I could see there being a real ecosystem around that location that you could find local makeup artists or something that are nearby that can help with the production. So
100%. We're already seeing an ecosystem inside of the application to date. I mean, early on we saw people putting their photography studios, taking pictures inside their studios, and in the description writing how much it was per hour to rent their studio, all by itself. So organically, without us enforcing anything, it's already becoming its own ecosystem. People are talking to each other, they're following one another, they're getting badges for putting up locations, which is other functionality that's built in, so there is some gamification built into the application. So it's getting really, really interesting, and we just added a desktop application that we have to update the web page, but eventually now you can actually go into your existing database on your computer or on your external drives and update your photos, and just using a Google Map interface, plot where that photo was taken, put your tags in, put your description in, so that way you can get your existing database into the system and use this as a tool instead of your traditional way of filing all of this stuff, which is just by using your files on your computer.
And one other question comes to mind, is this something that you have to spend a lot of time moderating? I know we spend some time with the commenting system on our sites having to make sure that things aren't slanderous, libelous, or violating someone's privacy or whatever. Is there a lot of time involved in just reviewing all the photos that come in?
Pete, you want to answer that, or you would like me?
Yeah, I can tackle that. So I think right now, to answer your question, it's really been, we've been lucky, obviously, as we start to scale, some of the additional moderation queue things that we need to put in play that are, tackling recognition APIs to be able to try to filter the things out. So leveraging the same technology that, say, YouTube or Google Images would tackle for being able to look at certain pixels and see if they detect something. But all in all, right now we've been really lucky. Knock on wood. Probably after this podcast today, we'll probably have a bunch of things to deal with now that you've jinxed us. But for the most part, yeah, it hasn't. We've been pretty good so far. The nice thing about social networks is that they're pretty well moderated. So I think we've got things in play right now where we can kind of remove those on the fly, obviously. But we've been lucky so far. We haven't had a lot of trolls. We've found that the people that are downloading and using the application really love it and are not misusing it. Certainly, having a lot of great content in there already has been helpful for them knowing how to use it. But we definitely have some plans to be able to moderate that, and obviously kind of using the community to moderate and police one another, which is something that I think all of the major social networks have done pretty successfully.
Yeah, we've also built in tools, dashboards for us internally, where we're able to monitor all the locations. For the most part, I would say less than 1% of the locations have been test locations or pictures of people's feet or lights or something ridiculous like that. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, the locations have been absolutely amazing. And all over the world, one of the locations that we just posted to the Facebook page was this gorgeous scene from France. We've seen stuff in Turkey. New Zealand, Australia. It's really been amazing, and because the photography community is so large, it's the biggest hobby in the world, and they're so passionate about what they do. They're really using it the right way, and it's also not meant for the general public. It's really meant for pros and Joes, or we say for pro or for play, and it's very niche. It's around what do I want to shoot, and what should I shoot this weekend, or where can I shoot this picture of my daughter or my dog, or of this product scene, or whatever it might be, and people really get that, and it's been great.
That's fantastic. We wish you a lot of luck in growing this community, and it seems like it's off to a great start. And we'll probably have you both back on in the future, because I know you're working on a bunch of other stuff that's still in the development stage that we'd love to talk about in the future as well. And it's all Connecticut grown right here with Connecticut keyboards. So
indeed,
thanks both David Salinas and Pete Sena for joining us today. And we will get this up in the probably next week or so. We'll edit it up and do a write-up with it also.